Hey everybody, it's me, Rob. I'm very excited to share my game Raiding Party with all of you. So I made this game as a love letter to the games I played growing up as a kid. And as an aspiring storyteller, I highly recommend, if you haven't read it before, Save the Cat by Blake Snyder. In it, he talks about the 10 different types of stories there are. And this is really the archetype that he mentions called the Golden Fleece. The hero sets out on a journey on the road to discover one thing, and along the way, they end up discovering something else themselves. The inspiration for Raiding Party really started just looking back at history, how the Vikings used to raid up and down the coast of England. But I wanted to set it in more of a post apocalyptic Mad Max kind of a world. Uh, the game is also heavily inspired by the craziness of living through lockdown in Los Angeles during the global pandemic. And there's also an element of exploring the rise of AI and the existential dread it may cause as we face our potential obsolescence as humans. So the combat design in the game, uh, enemies have the ability to, uh, once they detect you, they'll come up and try and attack you. Their attacking is fairly rhythmic, and you may have seen there, if I time a block correctly, I can do what's called a well-timed block, and it'll stun the enemy momentarily, allowing me to have a window to attack them. I can also parry their attacks, and I have the ability to dodge, jump. So if I'm surrounded by enemies, I can jump out of that. That's pretty cool. You see as I pick up new gear, it's populate my quick slots. That's awesome. So yeah, something I recently implemented not too long ago is a fatality system. Basically, if you get a critical hit against an enemy and it ends up doing enough damage to kill them, it'll actually trigger a fatality. The first I've implemented is decapitation, which you just saw there, but there will be many more fatality types to come. And the cool thing is, not only can you land them, but when an enemy or a party member lands a critical hit, it can trigger a fatality as well. Attack! Another thing I really tried to ensure is kind of sick and tired in a lot of these ARPGs how much loot you get, and a lot of it just ends up being junk cluttering your inventory. So I really, there is a rarity system in the game, common, rare, epic, and legendary. But I've actually tried to ensure that even common items that you find in the game, be they melee weapons, ranged weapons, or gear, are really useful at any level without even being rare. I don't want you to have to pick up a ton of junk loot to sell throughout the course of the game. Granted, some of the early enemies, they're not going to drop anything extremely high value, but really just try and minimize the extent to which you have to do garbage collect. One of the coolest features in Raiding Party is the unique mobile tower defense gameplay afforded by having weapon systems on your vehicle. Not only can you assume manual firing mode like I am right now with any weapon system that you have installed, but by default when you install a weapon system, it's set to automatic mode, which means that any enemy that comes within range of the weapon, it'll start firing on. I can also set the weapon systems to off in case I want to be more stealthy and not engage enemies as they come in. But it can be a really useful way of starting off a mission, infiltrating enemy defenses, as you can see here. You'll also get progressively more powerful weapon systems for your vehicles, starting with a crossbow. Then you can upgrade to a repeater crossbow, ballista, cannon, mortar, and currently the best weapon you can get for your vehicle is an M2 machine gun turret, but I do plan on adding many more weapon types as well. terms of the level and mission design, uh, this is technically level 1 of the mission, the main level, but the data persistence that I implemented accommodates there to be up to 7 levels per mission. So there's this main level that we're on right now, and then up to 3 underground levels or 3 above ground levels. And as we go around on the world map, we'll see different mission types appear. The exploration mission here is actually a representation of procedural missions in the game, which is really awesome. Keeps replayability. I want that to be very high. But if you look around, you'll see typically one main quest mission represented with a gold button here, and typically, 1 to 3 secondary missions. The only secondary mission that I've implemented so far is of the raid type, but there are 9 secondary mission types in the game, and exploration is one of them. And with the mission design, really, it tried to set it up so that you could try and complete the mission, but if you felt like, you were overpowered, or you just didn't have the resources to, be able to heal yourself to get through it, you'd always have the option to fall back or escape to your vehicle and take off to fight another day. Very much so why I implemented the exploration mission type. It's a way to kind of go off and recoup some of the lost resources that may have happened from a failed mission. Really cool thing though was being able to utilize Carl Casey, also known as White Bat Audio's music, for my game. I felt it was only fitting to use his music simply because it was the music that I was listening to while I was developing the game, and I felt it would be nice to pay tribute to the music that I used during development by having it be the score for the experiences. There's a wide variety of items for you to collect in the raiding party, including resources, consumables, drugs, melee and ranged weapons, throwable weapons, spells, and improvements to your vehicle, such as a targeting system or weapon systems. Something I wanted to explore in Raiding Party was really getting away from traditional save load systems, where players go for that perfect playthrough in an RPG and try and avoid any negative consequences, any failed quests or party members that they lost. I feel like doing that really breaks immersion in a game. And with that in mind, implemented a save load system that's very similar to games like Darkest Dungeon, where you have to live with the consequences of your actions. But I still tried to make it very forgiving to the player. Really, if you fail a mission, you just load back into the world map. You lose any experience items or party members that you gain during the mission, but otherwise you don't have to start the game over entirely. I've also been doing a lot of testing on the Steam Deck to try and ensure that I accommodate players using that as their platform. I've also added the current Steam Deck controls to the options menu. Simply click the gamepad button and you can see a list of the Steam Deck controls there. If you made it this far, thanks for watching my first video devlog of Raiding Party. Please like and subscribe this video. This is the first of many to come. I just want to be able to keep making cool indie video games for all of you. So if you liked the video and the gameplay I covered, please show your support by buying your copy of Raiding Party today, available now for early access on Steam. Link to the store page provided in the description below.